Alright guys, welcome back to Knucklehead Garage. In today's video, we are back on the S10 for some more upgrades and some more changes. More swaps. Jump right into this and get into this. This is an 85 S10 with a 2.8 V6 and a 5-speed from a 91 S10. The truck originally came with a 700 R4, but that tore up about a year ago because of a AutoZone's fault reman torque converter. Yeah, I'll never do that again. But the title of this video, you already know what's going on. We are finally going to swap from a 373 to a 308 by my calculations of the math, from a 96 Chevy S10 Blazer. You know, just dead easy swap in and out. So let's go ahead and grab tools and everything and get right into this because I want to get this over with. I'm dying to see just how good that this thing's going to drive and operate down the road, because now that it's a 5-speed, the RPMs are way entirely too high. A lot of stress on the motor, you know. I'll show you in a little bit, but you know, 5th gear trying to do interstate speeds, you're looking at over 3,000 RPM trying to do 65, 70 plus, and I can't do that. That's a lot of stress on any engine, but especially the 2.8 because it's already hurt. Never talked about that, but yeah, it is a little hurt. But anyway, let's go ahead and get this thing yanked out and get the 308 swapped into it. Alright, so here is the new rear end for the S10, and like I said, 96 X10 Blazer, and it was a 2-door, so it has this style of mounts for the sway bar. Sweet upgrade, and that will be getting swapped on this, but for now it's not going to get put on because I don't have the brackets that go to this end. They're actually welded to the frame, so I've got to go to the junkyard and cut them off and re-weld them to my frames to use this. Otherwise I'd have to use a different style 4-door, because 2-door and 4-door has different sway bars and different mounting brackets, but they all are welded to the frame, so it doesn't really matter which one I use. I'd rather just use this one than what I have. The wheel cylinders are going to have to be replaced. I already have them. I'm going to resurface the pads that are left on these shoes and resurface the drums, paint all this, make it look good, and just throw it together. I've got a new diff cover. I've painted the whole rear end. It was covered in mud. I will throw the pictures up real quick to show you that. You'll see how bad off that they looked, but I cleaned it up, pressure washed it, and super cleaner cleaned it up pretty good, and just some wheel silver paint, metallic, painted it. This is pretty much what it looked like. I got a new cover, new gasket, new fluid, and got everything. I got a new hose. So let's go ahead and get the other rear end pulled out of the truck. Here we are sometime later, and that's because nothing ever goes as easy as you think it would be. The rear end swap, perfect. Just other issues along the way to get to that step is what had held me up for so long. The U-bolts had to be cut. They're completely rusted shut. I got that one to almost come out. The rest of them were just stuck. The rust and everything, the threads, there was no way of getting them out. Yeah, you could have used a torch. I don't have a torch. I got a mini propane torch, but I would have sat there for hours trying to get them out. I already had new ones anyway, so I just cut all 8 of them. Every one of them had to be cut. Then the shackle bolts wouldn't come loose, no matter what I tried. And apparently you can't get the bolts anymore for the shackles. You can get the bushings and the leaf springs, but you can't get the bolts. And I don't know how people do it down the Rust Belt, you know, when they try to take that stuff apart and it breaks, you're screwed. Because I can't find anything online that shows that you can buy those anymore. But the rear end is in, the U-bolts are torqued down, the brake line is in. We got to do the brake shoes and springs and wheel cylinders. The rear cover I'm in the middle of doing right now, and I'm about to show you that. The cables is what I'm worried about next, after I get done with the other. So the cables on these, they go from one side to the other into one, and then it pulls to the front. Mine doesn't do that. Mine has 2 separate cables on each side, and then they both go into one underneath the truck towards the driver's door area. But the main concern is this end. The one that's on this, supposedly by what I looked up, the cable for a Blazer is round. This one has like a square, hexagon, whatever, stop sign looking thing on the end of it. So I don't know if it's going to lock in the same. If not, I'm hoping that I can swap the bracket that this cable locks into behind this shoe, so I can still use my e-brakes, because I'm going to need it having a manual. I don't trust leaving just it in gear when it's on a hill or incline. So the like I say, everything's in. The shackle bolts are torqued down, the shocks are in, the brake line. I need to put the wheel cylinders in, but they're hooked up. The vent hose, I may have to get a longer one. That one's a little, that's got too much, not enough slack. But the inside of the rear diff looks perfect. There is no scoring, no chips or marks on the teeth. Everything looks perfectly fine. And this gear has 40 teeth and the pinion has 13. And if you do the math on that, that comes back as a 308. I thought this was a 342, not a 308. I never ever thought that this was going to be a 308. However, being that it's a manual, 308's even better than a 342. Yes, it may, you know, limit of how fast and get up and go it's going to be out of the hole, but I'm okay with that. I'm not racing this truck every single day. It is not a race truck. It is a daily driver, so I don't really care. And when I put a V8 in it, it's probably going to have the same rear end unless I put an 8.8. And the only reason it didn't get an 8.8 is because the tubes on those have to be cut and the axles have to be shortened. I don't have the skills or the equipment for that, and I'm not paying anybody to do it because it's quite expensive. So the cheapest route was just to put a higher gear ratio out of another S10. Right, another day, another update. So I have painted the hubs, made those look a little bit better. I gotta put some anti-seize on the threads because they're kind of rusty from being where this was, and hopefully there's no issues with the threads, but we'll figure that out. The whole braking system is all done and finished. It's all brand new. The cables are hooked up, everything's bled, everything's adjusted. So yeah, we got new shoes. I went ahead and done shoes. Just figured it'd go ahead and get it out of the way. I don't want to have to touch this again. There's too many other projects that I have going on behind the scenes that y'all don't know about, including something sitting over there that I got to work on next. So wheel cylinders, shoes, springs, hardware, literally everything I could get. The adjuster's new, differential's full of fluid. So painted the drums. Those look like brand new again. Resurfaced the inside with some sandpaper and brake cleaner. It's good to go. And like I said, the diff is full. What I used was Lucas ADW90, and it's a thicker brand than regular gear oil, which is what I wanted for my type of use. That'll kind of help cushion any kind of wear that rear end may have. I don't think there is. There's no play in anything. There's no scarring or nothing on the gear, so it looks fine. But just because of my heavy foot, maybe occasional one wheel peels and heavy loads that I'll be carrying in the bed, and hoping to find a trailer eventually for this thing. You know, that'll really help out with that. But anyhow, let's get all this buttoned up, put it back together, and set it on the ground, and take it for a spin. Let's see if I can actually show you. I don't shift this thing low. I shift it around 2,000, 2,500 RPM, and that's just, you know, being easy on it, driving it like a normal vehicle, not racing it. So let's see if I can do this with one hand. That's fifth already. Like I said, 45 miles an hour, fifth gear at 2,000 RPM. '60s at 25 and 65 70 is over $3,000, so that's way more RPM than what I want. So let's see what 373s look like. I mean, just like that, back on the road again. Check out them RPMs. Way lower. This truck drives amazingly now. There's no vibrations, no shaking in the drivetrain now. I used to have like a little bit of a shake. I didn't know if it was coming from the engine side or the drivetrain, like drive shaft, but it must have been the drive line. The U-joints are brand new, so I knew it wasn't that, but it had like a vibration, sort of like bad U-joints. So let's start out first and go through the gears real quick. Ouch. And that's fifth. Already 50 miles an hour and I'm less than 2,000 RPM. Before, at 45 and fifth, I was doing $2,000. So the RPMs are cut 500 less than what it used to be. That is a big difference in how this thing like handles as far as driving and running wise. So much better. I still got to recalibrate my speedometer because I changed the gearing in the back, but that's not a big deal. It's very simple to do, not hard at all. Alright, let's see what 65 does. About 70, I'm doing less than 2,500 RPM in fifth. That is way better. I can actually do interstate highway speeds now and keep up with traffic. Could never do that before. This thing was screaming over $3,000 trying to do any type of interstate speeds. 60 plus was just way too much stress. And it's smooth as glass. Like there's no shaking at all. I don't know if there was something wrong with that rear end or if it's because the RPMs were so freaking high that it was causing it to have that like vibration, but I don't really care. I'm just really happy and glad that it's fixed and the truck is back and actually use it and go farther distances besides just through town and back roads. Well, a lot farther, get more work done. That 308 from 373 really made a big difference on how this thing does now. And something else too is my brakes are a lot better. I don't know why that is either, because the other rear end had brand new brakes as well, so I don't know. Strange. One thing though is I'm gonna have to have this transmission rebuilt or find another one, because this T5 has got problems. Every now and then second will grind, but most of all, I cannot punch this thing off the line and go from first, second to third. Third gear will grind real bad. It cannot handle that. The synchronizers in third are shot. It's so bad, it won't go in gear. It'll grind and then stop. You have to like take your foot off of it, push the clutch back in again, rev it up a couple times, then push it into third. So I was hoping to kind of make another pass at the drag strip, but I don't know if I want to push my luck with that right there, because that's going to cause me to, well, the time's going to be messed up. It ain't going to be as quick with having to mess with third gear every single time I have to mash it off the line like that. But other than that, it shifts fine, it's smooth, everything else is like it should be. The truck is way happier with this setup than it used to be, and I'm a lot happier because I got my truck back and not done, as any project isn't ever. But I've got a lot of things to be hauling off, pick up, so this is great that I got this back. It's going straight to service, getting some work done. What do you think? I believe the old girl is fixed and ready for the service again. Now it's finally going to be more of a daily driver than what it used to be. Like I said, I couldn't drive it on interstates or highways, so I had to use back roads or only in town. And that limited me on a lot of things of what I could do, what I needed to get done. But now you know and I know what it looks like and how one does from a 373 to a 308. And just in case you're wondering, I'm running 205 70 15-inch tires, riddles. Just some Douglas brand from Walmart. I need to get a new set for the front. It's got a alignment issue, and I got brand new suspension parts for the front, control arms, upper and lower, tie rod ends, inner tie rod ends. We got brakes, all kinds of goodies for this thing, just waiting to get put on. It's time. I am constantly busy. The back ones are brand new. They're not that old. They're a lot thicker. They're Doral sport tires. Same size, but I got to get the same brand for the front. Ford electric cooling fan doing its work, keeping her cool. Sometime eventually soon I'm going to try to make a video on this with a swap. It's very easy with an electric fan swap, but yeah, it's doing good, running good, driving good, and I'm impressed. No leaks from the rear end, wheel cylinders, everything, the brake lines, etc. All looks good. I hate I couldn't use that sway bar, but I am going to be looking out for a 4-door sway bar from a Blazer, and I'm going to need the brackets to go to the frame. Everything I've seen online, or just what I've seen at the junkyard so far, and that's just a little bit of research, that they are welded or riveted into the frame. I need ones that bolt in, but if they're all like that, I don't understand how people are getting them out and swapping them over to theirs if they're bolted in like, or riveted in or welded in like that, because there's no access for the 4-door style sway bar because it's like boxed up in the frame. So, but either way, when I figure it out, I'll make sure to make a video of that, because there's not many videos on that for the older S10s like this for that swap. They've got them, you know, for the other style round body, but not really the first gen style, swapping that over. But anyhow, I think that's going to do it for this video. Drop a comment down below, let me know what you think, and like, share, subscribe, and make sure you have the notification bell on so every time I upload you get the notification, because I know about 97% of y'all out there are not even subscribed. I can see that. There will be more on this old S10 coming soon. Like I said, I'm very busy, so trying to get content out is kind of hard. Just like I said, that's where I've been lately. It's just been really busy and just haven't had time to pick up the camera to record anything, because anytime you do any kind of recording, whether it be working on something or swapping something like a rear end, it just takes a lot more time, and it's easier to just get in there and get it done and be done with it. I will catch you guys later in the next one. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think, and stay tuned for more S10 content, and hopefully soon I will have more content of the Eurosport. I need to bring that car back. It has been quite a while since I've had any videos on that car, and I've had some comments and questions about it. I still have it. It ain't going nowhere. It's just sitting. And yeah, stay tuned for more. Catch you guys later in the next one.